to the Dr. Janine Show. I'm so happy to have you all here today. Please say hello and where you're from. And we've got a bunch of great new topics that we're talking about today. Yes, I am holding the thyroid, so talking about hyperthyroidism. Now, if you missed our last show, we talked about low thyroid and hypothyroid, but today we're going to be focusing in on an overactive thyroid. And I've got some great tips for you. We'll also talk about the implications of being under fake light, under artificial light all day, what that does to our health, as well as talking about our scalp and the health of our scalp. I have a great mask coming up, as well as talking about dandruff and scalp psoriasis, which I know a lot of people suffer with this. I've got some great natural tips, and that mask recipe I will share with you. It is phenomenal. Now, if you did miss our last show, we talked about, as I said, low thyroid. We also talked about autoimmunity, as that's related to the thyroid. So always check out the older shows if you've missed them. Of course, they live where you can find long form media. You can find the videos there. We also talked about microbiome cleansing tips, and we're going to focus in on leaky gut syndrome today in today's show as well. Remember that the show is super interactive, and we'll be playing for a prize. So we're playing for the Veggies Multi. That is coming up. I do have quiz questions throughout the show. We have a fill in the blanks as one of the quiz questions today as well. Please say hello and where you're from. Uva, hello in Canada. Nice to see you in Alberta. I am Maitsezen. Did I say that right? In Canada. Hello. Lots of Canadians here. Hello, hello. Hope you're enjoying the cold weather that we're having. And I know even Floridians in some parts of Florida, you've got cold weather as well. So please say hello. Lone Lynch, hello in California. I hope you're okay and safe there as well. Gigi Who, hello and it's Gloria in the USA. Nice to have you here. How's everybody doing today? Give me a thumbs up. Everybody's having a great day. Sylvia in California. Tita in Ontario, California. Nice to have you here. Thank you. Hello, hello. Nice to have you here. Thanks for the thumbs up. Bon Bon in Wisconsin. Thanks for tuning in. A lot of Americans here and Californians. Kai Kate, nice to have you here. Malgoon in London. Thank you for tuning in. KP Davis in Houston, Texas. Frozen's Matt. Yeah, I wasn't here last week. Great to be back this week. And so happy to be here. Caliste Roger in Trinidad and Tobago. Hello, hello. How are you over there? SM Key in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They're coming in fast. I can't keep up. Jody B in Michigan. Nai Koa in Jamaica. Nice to have you. Tanzania's in the house. Godfather TZ. Thank you for tuning in. Susan Carden in Niagara Falls. How are you? And if anybody has seen some of the videos on Niagara Falls, how it was like completely frozen over. It was really remarkable, beautiful. Look that up, some videos on that on social media. Amazing, amazing. So I hope that you're able to experience that. I grew up around Niagara Falls, so it was always, close to home for me. Nice to have you here, Judith in California. Mary Moore, hello. And good morning to you, Tara. Nice to have you here. Linda Viamil, thank you so much for tuning in. And Ionut in Romania, thank you for tuning in today. So if you're new to the show, please hit that follow button. Make sure that you share today's live as well. I appreciate anybody who is going to be able to share today's live. Raina, okay, we'll see you in a bit. Come back. And great to have you here. Thank you for all that sunshine that you always share. All right, so make sure you hit that share button, everyone. Thank you for doing that. And Miriam, thank you for the follow. So if you are new here, this is the Dr. Janine Show. We do this on Tuesdays. And Champo in the Maldives, nice to have you here. Thank you for tuning in. And so we talk all about natural health, and I've got a bunch of topics every week that we focus in on. You will have an opportunity to ask me questions a little bit throughout today's live show, but more so tomorrow in the Q&A. So we have a Q&A tomorrow, so make sure you check that out as well. Thank you for sharing the live, Raina. Thank you so much, Granty, for the new follow, and great to have you all here. Okay, so let's get going with talking about fake light. So artificial light. What is fake light? Artificial light. So any light that isn't full spectrum natural sunlight, so being outdoors, is fake light. And unfortunately, because of changes that have been made in our light bulbs, so now the energy efficient light bulbs, as well as when it's LED, it could be fluorescent, our screen time as well is artificial light. It is going to have some negative consequences for our health, and it may be even more important than our food and our diet and our exercise. Yeah, so our light environment is going to dictate a lot of different things. Let's go through some of the things that it can disrupt. Like number one, our circadian rhythms. So we know that those LED lights, they emit more of the blue spectrum of the light. And that blue spectrum of the light, unfortunately, in the wrong time of day is going to stimulate certain hormone cascades, and it will suppress our melatonin, which we know is super important for our sleep-wake cycles, as well as for the fact that melatonin has other implications for our health. We have subcellular melatonin, which is a master antioxidant, which nobody talks about. So this becomes really important to be balancing our indoor exposure with getting more outdoor exposure, really important for our circadian rhythms and our hormones, which we'll talk about. Okay, number 2, it increases the risk, of course, of eye strain. So being on our screens all the time and under artificial light is really going to offset the normal function and physiology of your actual eyeballs. And it can cause blurred vision, as we know. It can impact your mood and, of course, have negative consequences. Where's my glasses? Okay, so this is one of the reasons why all day when I'm on my screens or under artificial lights, at nighttime, especially after the sun has set, I always have my blue light blocking glasses on, especially if I'm on a screen and you're just chilling and watching a movie or whatever, you've got your blue light blocking glasses on. Okay, now also, it can be reducing your cellular energy production. So this has an impact on your mitochondria. And this is something that we know our mitochondria, yes, makes energy for us, that ATP, that's what we learn in school, but our mitochondria have a lot to do with our DNA and our overall cellular health. And this is where most of the diseases out there are actually mitochondrial diseases. So taking care of our light environment becomes very, very important in terms of reducing that damage in terms of our cellular damage and our mitochondrial damage. Okay, number 4 on my list is hormones. So yeah, did you know that especially artificial light at night has a high risk of increasing breast issues in terms of that C word out there? I won't say it. So yeah, that is just one impact of having artificial light at night. Now, artificial light that we're under all day as well affects our cortisol levels, our stress levels, our reproductive hormones, our fertility, our metabolism, and our moods as well. So it's something that definitely having a handle on your light environment becomes super, super important. And you're going to hear me talk about that over and over again. It's something that I talked a lot about in my book coming out this year. We're so close to having it ready to launch. So please make sure that you're following me and check out my website. So my new website, I want you to check it out because there's going to be ongoing information coming on the website, drjaninebowring.com. Send us an email. You'll get on the email list so that you're going to be privy to all the new information coming out. And of course, the launches and things happening with the book. Okay, so now we will be talking about leaky gut syndrome. So if you do have gut issues, you know somebody who has gut issues, hello, nice to see you. Archie, thank you for tuning in. Nees as well in the Philippines, thank you for tuning in today. So if you know people who have gut issues or you yourself have a lot of gas, bloating, maybe leaky gut, we're going to talk about that, but first I want to share a little bit more about hyperthyroid, okay? So this is very common, so an overactive thyroid, and what is happening here with hyperthyroidism. I might need to come back to putting these on, it's like super bright in here. All right, so hyperthyroid, we know the symptoms of your thyroid being overactive. Let's start up here. How is it affecting our nervous system? So nervousness, you may have irritability, insomnia, depression even, weight loss. So this is, a big thing. So you're losing weight rapidly. And even despite the fact that you're hungry all the time and you may be eating more, frequent bowel movements as well, as that's related to your thyroid being overactive. Fragile fingernails, shaking hands, so a sense of shakiness. Your skin could be very hot to the touch and warm and moist, broken hair and hair loss. The thyroid could actually be enlarged. So that's something that would happen potentially with, and not always, but a lot of times you are going to see that thyroid becomes enlarged. It's something that the doctor will feel for, but also increased heart rate and arrhythmias and high blood pressure. And there could be some muscle cramps and weakness as well, and just a loss of muscle mass. And that's why, part of that weight loss can be related to that loss of that muscle mass. So yeah, weight loss is usually the reason that you're going to see the doctor, but let's go through did we get the list? I hope we got the list. I said everything? Okay, good. But yeah, guess what time it is? Okay, so that's something, ongoing. I'm going to help in terms of hyperthyroidism to sort of give you a different perspective as to how you may want to address it more naturally. But first, we have a quiz question coming up. Thank you, Sweetheart Bless One. I love that handle name. Thank you for the follow. Great to have you here. Father, thank you for tuning in for the first time, perhaps. I'm Dr. Janine. It's great to have you here. Okay, now this is a very interactive show. I know we have a lot of new people here today. So what we do is we will have a few quiz questions throughout the show. You have the opportunity to participate, and you may be a winner of our prize. I will be announcing last week's winner in just a moment. This week we're playing for the Veggies Multi from our great sponsor, VitaTree Nutritionals. Thank you for sponsoring our show. So whole food vitamins, this is the Veggies Multi. All right, is everybody ready for our first quiz question? I hope so. All right, let's go. Quiz question number 1, you're gonna have 30 seconds. It's a true or false. Energy efficient LED lights can disrupt our sleep and hormones. You've got 30 seconds on the clock. Get your answers in now. Good luck, everyone. Okay, we've got about 15 seconds left. How's everybody doing here? Everybody would ace this one. Good job, everyone. Okay. Yes, good job, everyone. Just even if you don't know. Good job, good job. Sharon, Ferdis, hello. Erlene, Sam, good job. Bashar, Tosha, Yummy Indian Recipes. All right, great. I see some people I think are on a few platforms here, which is amazing. Increasing your chances, that's very wise, of winning that prize. Good job, and putting in multiple answers. I love that. Okay, everybody got their answers in? Okay, let's reveal. Make sure that you are subscribed, you are following. If you're here for the first time, that was our first quiz question. We have more quiz questions coming up, so stay tuned for that and more information for you. All right, of course, the answer is true, so congratulations to everybody, for everyone who got that right and correct. All right, now I do want to congratulate last week's winner of the VitaTree probiotics, and our winner was Mrs. Deanie. So congratulations to you. Awesome job. Thank you so much for participating. We've had some handful of people that have won more than once. If you're a very lucky person and you participate in every show, it's possible, which is amazing. Okay, now let's go through some of my tips for that overactive thyroid. Now remember, weight loss is one of the big symptoms, of course, muscle loss as well. You could have an enlarged thyroid. We went through that list of symptoms of hyperthyroid. We can revisit it again if you want to see it again towards the end of the show, so just let us know in the comments. But this is important. We will be talking about my fantastic scalp mask. So if you have dandruff, psoriasis, itchy scalp, flaking on the scalp, this is something that you're going to want to do. It is remarkable. That recipe is coming up, and I'm going to show you how to mix it up. Okay, now let's talk about what do we do for hyperthyroid? What are my natural tips? Some of the things probably that you haven't heard before, as that's related to an overactive thyroid. Okay, number 1, really, really important, is lowering your EMF exposure. What are EMFs? Electromagnetic fields, not the natural ones that I'm talking about. I'm talking about your Wi-Fi, your cell phone towers, your smart meter on your home. There's so many different instances. Anything that's plugged in around you, especially as you're sleeping, you want to unplug that. Get the alarm clock out of your bedroom. I know it seems crazy, but you've got to do your best to limit, especially when you're sleeping, your EMF exposure. It's going to go a long way to actually help your thyroid during the day as well. And especially artificial light at night is going to be something that is going to totally disrupt your circadian rhythms, which is very much tied to what's happening with your thyroid. Okay, so that's really, really important. Number 2 on my list, of course, is fixing your circadian rhythms. So that is following Mother Nature's prescription. What is that? What is part of Mother Nature's prescription? Okay, that's not an official quiz question, but please put it in. If you know, you've been here before, I want to see all my followers. What is part of Mother Nature's prescription? Put it in the comments. Thank you, Suki, for the follow. Great to have you here. Thank you for tuning in today. It's amazing to have you here. All right, Jojo's got it. Christy's got it. Yes, Kathy's got it. All my regulars. Philip, of course. Mary Moore, yes. I see all of my Regulars are here, victorious as well. Frozen's, Matt, yes. So Mother Nature's prescription, of course, is the sunlight exposure, grounding. So making sure that you're grounded as you're seeing that sunlight. I'm going to actually I have a thing. I have to tell my team about it. So remind me, team, about the visual I have about the grounding and the sunlight thing, okay? It involves a battery, but I want to make that slide. Okay, that's going to be coming next week, hopefully. All right, as well as number 3, really important is sleep. So making sure that we're getting enough good quality sleep, not just that we go to bed and we wake up in the morning. No, it's got to be good, deep quality sleep on a regular schedule, which of course is tied into your circadian rhythms, which ties back to your thyroid. Your thyroid is actually most active when you're sleeping. So something that we definitely want to regulate those rhythms with the light and dark cycle of the day. Really, really important. Okay, number 4 is reduce the stress. We know that stress is going to offset your cortisol levels. They call something called pregnenolone steal, and then that can have an implication on your thyroid health, as well as what's happening with your adrenals and that correlation between your adrenals, your thyroid, your lack of sun exposure, as well as your leptin signaling. And leptin is very much tied in. So if you've not seen my content and just do a lot of research, you can just, search it on not even on social media. Well, you can't search it on social media, but just search it on the internet. Leptin resistance, you're going to learn a lot about how this is tied back again to your thyroid. And that's why going back to Mother Nature's prescription with fixing your circadian rhythms becomes really important for fixing your thyroid. Okay, so reduce that stress. Number 5, of course, a healthier diet is absolutely important. So eating a local and seasonal diet, depending on what's growing, what's available to you, where you're living in the season, depending on how much natural sunlight exposure you're getting as well. And eating more healthy fats becomes really important to feed your thyroid. You need more of that DHA, especially from fish oil. That's coming up in just a second, to really feed the electrons that you need to power your thyroid and to have that anti-inflammatory effect. Okay, number 6 is some red light. So where do we get the most red light from? Of course, the sun, but we definitely want to make sure that if we're not always getting outside, that red light therapy can really be helpful for regulating our thyroid levels. Number 7 is building your melanin. How do we do that? We have to get outside, again, under natural sunlight and get a tan. So that becomes really important. Our melanin, much to the opposite of what we've been told, melanin is very protective. It actually quenches free radicals and supplies us with electrons. So we need those electrons, right? And that proper balance of the electrons in our body has that anti-inflammatory effect. Really important for when you've got that Graves' disease, which is autoimmunity related to that hyperthyroidism. These are all connected. So really important to get outside in that sun. That goes back to up here, Mother Nature's prescription, right? Okay, number 8, of course, is DHA. Now this protects the brain and supplies a lot of electrons in that DHA. DHA, docosahexaenoic acid. This is from our omega-3s, from our fish oil. You can also get it in lamb, and macadamia nuts also has some DHA. So those are other sources if you're not big on fish. I do supplement personally with a high quality DHA fish oil supplement. It's got a bit of EPA as well. Super, super important and is a game changer for health. Okay, and number 9 is, of course, getting enough cold exposure. So this really does depend on your heritage from your mother's side of the family, because of course we get our mitochondria from our mother. And if your mother came from originally a more northern latitude, like Northern European in my case, then that means that my mitochondria are something called uncoupled. And that uncoupled type of mitochondria produces heat more readily than someone who's from around the equator, who usually has a coupled mitochondria from their mother. Now, the importance of this is that this enhances our ability to make our own internal water, which is anti-inflammatory as well. It's deuterium depleted in our mitochondria, and that helps to regulate our thyroid as well as our brain chemistry, our leptin signaling, our sunlight exposure. It's all connected, okay? I hope that helps. I hope this is something new. Put a 1 in the comments if these are new things that you've heard related to their thyroid before. And a lot of these points do actually apply to hypothyroidism, which we talked about in our last show as well. Yes, please put a 1 in the comments if this is making sense to you as well, and it's something new that you've heard in terms of what's happening with your thyroid. Okay, good, I'm glad. I love to teach, as you can tell, and that's of course why we do the Dr. Janine Show, because I think education is very powerful. Yes, thank you. I see all these ones coming in. I'm really happy about that, because when you understand things, and I want you to share, that's one of the things, is sharing this information with someone who else needs to know it. And we'll be talking about leaky gut. I know that's a big topic for a lot of people as well, and we're talking about scalp health and dandruff today and psoriasis. That is coming up, but this is so important. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Always shop 1111 in Canada, the EMF. It's so true. Nobody's talking about that EMF exposure. Everybody talks about the diet and eating this and eating that and don't eat this and don't eat that. And I do that as well on social media, don't get me wrong, because it's important to focus in on healthier foods. And then everybody talks about the exercise. You got to get outside, you got to do exercise this and that and lift weights and do all these things. Not enough people are talking about the EMFs and the sunlight and our electrons and the DHA. So this is something that, yeah, I've taken upon myself to learn and to learn from the very best. And, you know, it's something that is not taught in medical schools. And that's why often some of the things that you hear here on the Dr. Janine Show may be the first time that you're hearing these things. And that's why I like to see all those ones in the comments. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. I love it. Mary Moore, I'm so glad that you like that point about cold exposure and your mom and getting your mitochondria from your mom. So glad. Okay, now let's talk. Oh, I do want to thank actually my viewer spotlight. So this is from Rachel, VG6IM, and you said, thank you so much for sharing what you have learned about our health. Your explanations are helpful. Blessings to you as help to others. Well, thank you so much, Rachel. It is so great to have all of your positive feedback. Amazing, amazing. I appreciate it. And all of my viewers, I love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in every time that we do have a live show. It's so great to have you here. All right, so, and thank you, Christy, for sharing. Becca also shared. It is so amazing. Always show 111, your watch made you very sick. Yeah, years back, we all had the watches, you know, the watches that I'm talking about with EMFs, yeah. And yeah, then no one now in my family wears the watch. Because it does not do great things for your health, especially if you are sensitive to those EMFs. So thank you for sharing that. All right, great to have you here. Thank you, thank you, thank you for tuning in today. Now we're going to be talking about our scalp and health, dandruff, psoriasis on the scalp. But first, let's go through some of the most common causes of a big topic, leaky gut. Okay, so I'm going to go through 10 of the most common causes of leaky gut syndrome, as you can see here. And we know that taking care of our gut health becomes very important in terms of our overall health. Over 80% of our immunity comes from having a healthy gut microbiome. We know that our gut is related to what's happening with our brain chemistry and our moods and our ability to focus. And this becomes really important in terms of making some of these connections. Our gut also has to do with autoimmunity. So leaky gut is usually related back now into developing autoimmune disorders. And there are very common causes of leaky gut, some of which people aren't talking about, like the big one here. Shope, I think that was your name. Yeah, that this was always Shope. 1111. So the EMFs can be related to the leaky gut as well. Okay, so circadian rhythm disruption. So if you work the night shift, this will offset your normal circadian biology and can cause leaky gut. If you notice that a lot of nurses that work the night shift tend to be overweight and have a lot of inflammatory conditions, well, that could be related, most times, of course, to that circadian rhythm disruption and a lot of leaky gut issues, as well as, of course, the EMF exposure like we've talked about. So your cell phone, your smartwatch, your Wi-Fi in your home. I mean, just do your best. And I have a lot of videos, and it's in a big chapter in my new book coming out, ways that you can mitigate and lessen that EMF load on your body. Medications can also be related to leaky gut syndrome, as well as strenuous exercise can even cause a leaky gut. So overdoing it with exercise, maybe not the best form of stress to your body in terms of leaky gut. Alcohol, we know, can also punch holes in the gut, so that, and I mean overconsumption of alcohol here, but even people that are sensitive, it's probably not recommended to be consuming alcohol if you're prone to leaky gut syndrome. Parasites, bad bacteria, we know, absolutely. Food poisoning, if you've got pets, if you're in the garden, if you eat raw organic fruits and vegetables, you're trying to be healthy, you're more prone now and susceptible to those parasites and bad bacteria, and of course then the leaky gut syndrome. Stress, of course, we know causes so many different health issues, but yeah, it makes you more prone to the leaky gut. Sunlight deficiency, so your gut microbiome actually gives off light. So if you are, of course, not getting enough natural sunlight exposure, you're under artificial lights all the time, can be a cause for leaky gut as well. Even synthetic vitamins, synthetic vitamin C can have a correlation to leaky gut syndrome, and other nutrients as well. So vitamin D deficiency, zinc, and other mineral deficiencies, as that's related to your leaky gut. Selenium deficiency is a big one. Those tight junctions in the gut. Selenium is one of those minerals that's super important to help to maintain those tight junctions in the gut so that they're not open, and that's exactly what leaky gut is that now things are filtering through that gut that shouldn't be, and it's related to then that autoimmunity potentially. All right, so let's talk about some tips now. So what do we do about this leaky gut? So you've got the gas, you've got the bloating, you've got Hashimoto's, you've got Graves' disease, you've got leaky gut and autoimmunity, maybe, it could be lupus, it could be anything related back to that leaky gut, and you just know that your gut isn't right. And maybe that's where it started. Maybe you did have, symptoms of leaky gut before you developed your autoimmunity. Let's take a look at now some tips. What can we do naturally in terms of improving that leaky gut? So if you're just tuning in now, we talked about this when we were talking about the thyroid as well. Mother Nature's prescription. Okay, now everybody put it in the comments. What is Mother Nature's prescription? What are we talking about here? What can we do naturally to help with leaky gut now, following Mother Nature's prescription? All right, Christian, nice to have you here. Thank you for tuning in today. Rita, hello. Yes, username, good job. I see that. Harish, hello. Nice to have you here. Nature, thank you for tuning in. And yes, we've got it. Okay. All right, Christy as well, we've got it. Miss Linda, yes, Joyce, McClaria, Tony is in the house. Janet, I love the fact that it's a big emoji, probably my favorite emoji. I use it all the time when I sign off on, when I'm texting with people. Yes, the big sun, yes, so sunlight and grounding, part of Mother Nature's prescription. Mohit, yeah, jungle walk, perfect. Ideally barefooted, right? Mother Nature's prescription helps your gut. Okay, so when you're out in nature, you're actually now communicating and touching and bringing up the microbiomes of your environment, and that actually affects your own microbiome in your gut, believe it or not. Yeah, so that's really important, being out in nature. Okay, number 2, of course, is finding that mineral balance. So like I talked about, selenium is a big one, your trace minerals, magnesium, zinc, very reparative to the gut as well. So finding that proper balance for your minerals, and that's going to mean different things for different people, whether you need to supplement or you need to increase your salt intake and make it, multi-salt that has a lot of trace minerals as well. Coral calcium, for instance, has a bunch of trace minerals, so that's something that that I like to take personally. Again, closer to bedtime helps with sleep as well, so that's something you can learn more about. Okay, number 3 is Cabo. So what is Cabo? Does everybody know that? We'll take a look at that in just a second. And a full body detox. So really addressing some of those less favorable organisms that could be in the gut, that could be parasites, bacteria, bad bacteria. So here's Cabo. So C-A-B-O, that's why it's called Cabo. This is my own acronym for my favorite combination of herbal medicines to help with parasites and candida. So the cloves, artemisia, black walnuts, and oregano. We do have other information on that and something that we've talked about in multiple other shows, so you can learn more about that. And also addressing the full body detox, but heavy metals as well. And that's why, when we were talking about, for instance, the chlorella, which helps to trap heavy metal toxins, is fantastic as well as part of fixing that leaky gut. Okay, number 4 on the list is you got to put the good guys back in. So remember, our gut is comprised of good and bad bacteria, but putting those probiotics back in becomes very important. So eating things like sauerkraut, kimchi, in a future show, I think we should review I'm just thinking on the spot, our sauerkraut recipe. Let's make sauerkraut. Okay, we're going to do that in the kitchen. Maybe not in the next show, but maybe the show after that. But maybe even next show we'll do the sauerkraut and make the sauerkraut. It's fantastic. Great for your gut microbiome. Super, super easy and inexpensive. Taking a good quality probiotic can be really effective as well. My 2 favorite strains are Lactobacillus acidophilus and Bifidobacterium bifidum. Okay, and making sure that it doesn't have magnesium stearate is super important. Hey, put a 1 in the comments if you're loving what you're hearing right now. Fadumo, thank you. Gwen, thanks for the follow. It's great to have you here. Joyce, yeah, sauerkraut is the best. Greek yogurt, love it as well. As long as it's grass-fed is my preference. Great to have you here. I'm loving the fact that everybody's here today. Thank you for tuning in today. It's so great. Betty, I do have some videos on SIBO and gastritis, so please check it out. These would also apply. So all of my tips that we're talking about here would apply to SIBO as well. All right. Thank you for sharing today's live as well. So please hit that share button if you haven't already done that. Hey, hit it 5 times. That would be great. Share with your friends. Great to have you here. And thanks for all the likes and all the hearts coming in as well. Great to have you all here today. All right, let's continue with my list. Yes, thank you. Love that. Love all those hearts coming in. Love, love, love that. Thank you. All right, let's continue with the list. Number 5 for leaky gut is to have a local seasonal diet. What does that mean? That means eating what's available to you in the season that you're in. So in the winter, if you live in a colder climate like we do here, not so many fresh fruits and vegetables would be naturally available. Yes, we have the grocery store down the street where everything is, grown or imported or whatever. That's not the same thing as what you would actually historically been able to produce on your own. That's what you should be eating. Because, and I won't get into it too much, but I've talked about it in other videos, that food is programmed with the sunlight and the energy of the sunlight, and whether it's cold temperature or hot temperature, it all makes a difference in how much natural sunlight you're getting in your ability to actually metabolize that food. So that becomes important. So a local seasonal diet. Number 6 is stress reduction and meditation. So really important to just calm your nervous system down. Leaky gut is very much related. Remember that gut-brain connection, very important. Yes, on the physical level with the probiotics, but stress is also going to have an effect downstream on what's going on with digestion. We know that. Have you ever been nervous before an exam or something, you have to run to the washroom? We know that that's definitely connected. So, and long-term overall stress is going to have an impact on your gut and how well it's functioning. So that becomes really important. Meditation, I love deep breathing. You've got to find a tool for yourself that works and that you can stick to doing. Okay, number 7 is, of course, limit the alcohol as much as possible. We know that that's going to wipe things out in terms of your good flora, your probiotics. And number 8 is mindful exercise and movement. So doing things that, number 1, you can continually do and that you love to do, ideally outside under natural light and sunlight, of course, maybe even in the cold if you're in a cold climate during the colder months. Really important to move and mindfully. So keeping your mobility of your joints always as a priority, starting with your feet as well. Really, really important. That's why I like the barefoot shoes. Being barefoot, amazing for mindful exercise and movement. Okay, so guess what time it is? Okay, it's quiz question number 2 time. If you're just tuning in right now, this is the Dr. Janine Show. Great to have you here. Thank you for tuning in today. All right, so we are playing for the Veggies Multi from our great sponsor, VitaTree Nutritionals, the sponsor of our show. And you've got 30 seconds up on the clock. Once we see that question come up, do your best. This one should be fairly simple, but if you're just tuning in, you may not know it, so just try it anyways. You've got a 50-50 chance. Is everybody ready? All right, it's a true or false. Here we go. Working late at night can cause leaky gut syndrome. You've got 30 seconds on the clock. Do your best, everybody. All right, 90 seconds. What are we doing here? Okay, let's see. Good job, everyone. 5 seconds, I'm going to get your answers in. All right. Okay, everybody's got your answers in. Thank you for all the hearts coming in. I see that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, awesome. I'll give you a few more seconds. All right, you got it? All right, let's reveal, of course. Yes, it is true. So this is something that is very common to have your lights on after the sun has set. You shouldn't, okay? So try to shut the lights down as much as possible. Keep your lights low to the ground. If you have a red light, put the red light on in your home, just as, you know, ambient lighting, but it can make a dramatic effect and change things for the better in terms of your sleep as well. All right, so let's talk about some of the most common causes of dandruff. So if you've got dry and itchy and flaky scalp, let's talk about what can really cause this. Often it's related to fungus, and there's a yeast called Malassezia, and that can irritate, of course, the scalp and cause that flakiness happening, all right? So it's something that should really be treated and treated properly. The problem with the dandruff shampoos is they coat, they just go on top, they sort of seal that in, sort of create like a wax coating over the scalp. So yeah, the symptom disappears, but have you actually addressed what's the root cause? You're sort of covering it up like a Band-Aid. So that's why I don't like the dandruff, the traditional dandruff shampoos, because that's what they're doing. If you don't shampoo enough, so not washing your hair enough can be a problem as well. And actually washing not just your hair, but your scalp becomes very important if you do have an irritated scalp and a lot of flakiness. Now, I will be talking about psoriasis, so that's coming up as well. It's a little bit different mechanism. But first, I really want to talk about some of the things to avoid, because, I mean, most people, I think, use shampoo, but there are some very toxic ingredients in shampoos. Let's go through the list really quickly. So things to look for. You can screenshot this list on your device after this, or take a picture if you have a second device that you can take a picture of your screen. But I want you to know these things to look for in your shampoos. Okay, the first one, sodium lauryl sulfate, SLS. They can strip your hair of its natural moisture and be very irritating to your scalp. It can actually lead to psoriasis on your scalp, and so makes you more prone to that psoriasis. So make sure that is not, it's called SLS, okay? Sodium lauryl sulfate, make sure it is not in your shampoo. Number 2 is urea. And it goes under different names: hydroxyethyl diazolidine and imidazolidinal. Hydroxyethyl is the most common form of the urea. It's a moisturizer that's used in shampoos and conditioners, but again, you don't want to be putting this because it's a toxic chemical on your scalp. Number 3, it's a big one, fragrances and perfumes. So this can trigger a psoriasis flare-up, because especially if, and most people with psoriasis, because it is autoimmune, you've got sensitivity anyways, and that underlying inflammation, so that can be a big problem with the fragrances and perfumes. Okay, number 4 is polysorbates, which are emulsifiers. They help to thicken up different conditioners usually, and that is something that, again, can be very irritating to the scalp, and it is toxic. Number 5 is sorbic acid or sorbates. They're used as preservatives in most shampoos and conditioners. Again, you want to avoid these. They're toxic chemicals and can be very irritating to the scalp. Okay, number 6 is alcohols as well, and that is going to decrease that natural fatty layer on your scalp and can really strip the hair of its natural moisture as well, so you want to avoid that. So cetyl and sterol are different types of alcohol ingredients, and isopropyl alcohol as well. And the fatty alcohols like the cetyl and the sterol, often you're going to find that in your shampoos. And I can write these out tomorrow. So come to the Q&A tomorrow. I'm going to write out some of these like more specific names to look for on the whiteboard tomorrow. So we'll go through some of these so you can really check your shampoo and conditioner bottles for these ingredients. And number 7, it's a big one. In 2018, propylene glycol was named Allergen of the Year. Yeah, and it's in so many different places. It's crazy. My hope is that in the next, 5 years, well, how many years do we have left? 3.5? 4 years. A lot of things are coming out of the States now, right, that are being banned and hopefully will be banned in terms of toxic ingredients. So hopefully that change we're going to see in things like a lot of these ingredients in our common, beauty products that we're using. And it's really important that we are looking for the actual, healthier things to use on our scalp. But I do have, of course, a recipe coming up so that we can treat that scalp if you do have psoriasis or dandruff. dandruff or just flaky, dry scalp, irritated scalp, that is coming up in just a second. All right, I do want to thank my super fans. So of course I have super fans that you're very generous throughout the lives and in between the shows as well on my channel. So thank you to all of you. I appreciate you. Here at the Dr. Janine Show and of course the entire team and content creation that we do it for you, and we appreciate you so much for, you know, loving the content, number one, and always commenting and sharing and liking and doing all those things like Ali just shared. So thank you so much. Leah, thank you for following. Great to have you here for the first time. All right, great to have you here. Okay, let's talk about scalp psoriasis. Now we know that psoriasis, that irritation on the scalp, is an autoimmune condition. So again, related back, if you're just tuning in now, we did talk about leaky gut syndrome, how that's related to autoimmunity, so that becomes very important as well. But these thick sort of plaques, as they're called, that develop on the scalp are very irritating to anybody who has ever, you know, gone through the scalp psoriasis. So what the fluff? Yes, exactly. I see your comment. Exactly. All right, so this is something that we definitely want to, you know, whenever we can, have natural solutions for what's happening here. So let's go through my tips for dandruff and psoriasis on the scalp. All right, is everybody ready? Okay, so number one, no surprise, we're gonna fix that leaky gut. Of course, some of my tools, the cabos, so getting rid of the parasites, the candida, the less favorable organisms that are in the gut, probiotics, and of course, minerals, and finding that mineral balance as we talked about leaky gut today in the show. Okay, number two, we've got to sync our circadian rhythms as well. So our circadian clock mechanisms, very, very important in terms of the turnover time of our skin cells. With psoriasis, it's happening too quickly, and that's why we get the plaque formation. So slowing down those clocks on the skin becomes very important, and coordinating them with the big one in the brain, in the SCN of the brain. That proper coordination between the skin clocks and the master brain clock needs to be properly coordinated. So turn off the lights at nighttime. And if you have to have lights on, wear a cap at nighttime so that you're covering your scalp so that you're not exposed. Because imagine if you, and I'm not sure I've said this before, but imagine in your home, you've got the light on in the kitchen or in your den or in your whatever, living room or in your bedroom. You've got your light on, it's 10 p.m. at night, you've got your light on overhead, and your scalp is reading. What is that telling your scalp and your brain? It's telling you that the sun is out at 10 p.m. Is that the right message to be telling your scalp? No, just think about it, right? It's very simple, but at the same time, science has now proven these clock mechanisms. Each cell in our body has a clock. And so when those clocks get messed up, that's when we get the symptomatology. So it's so simple. Put on a cap. Best thing, turn off the lights. Turn off the lights, okay? When it's dark, it should be dark. All right. Somebody needed to hear that. I don't know who it was, but somebody needed to hear that. All right, number three is your full body detox. And considering those heavy metal detoxes as well to get those toxins out of the system. I've got lots of videos on how to do full body detox. It's something that I cover a lot. Okay, and of course doing it naturally with herbal medicines, that is really helpful. Okay, number four is sunlight exposure. Cold exposure can be great for that psoriasis as well. Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Please hit that share button. And if you're new here, please make sure that you are subscribed, you are following today. All right. Awesome. Number five is coconut oil is a natural antifungal. So one of the recipes that you can do is actually, and I will share my scalp mask in just a second, but coconut oil is something that you can apply to the scalp, close to bedtime, and then you're going to shampoo it out. But it does have a natural antifungal effect. So for a lot of people, it can be very soothing for the scalp psoriasis and for dandruff on the scalp. Okay, number six, of course, is making the mask. So I'm going to share that recipe in just a second. Number seven is red light and UV therapy. So yeah, there's some great products out there and some great lights that I will be speaking more about in the near future because everybody's always asking me, okay, which one? So I will be sharing that information in the near future. But yeah, this is something that, and just get out under natural sunlight exposure is going to be your best bet. So take off the hat. When you're out in the sun, you can take off the hat. Let the sun get on your scalp. Really important to heal things up. Number 8, of course, is black seed oil capsules can be really restorative as well, especially to the leaky gut. So coming up here, and there is just great benefits for a lot of people who have scalp psoriasis in particular, to take the black seed oil to completely clear things up. It does have an antifungal effect, which is amazing, helps to clean up the gut microbiome as well. So it's multifactorial in the way that you're doing it. And I'm talking about not applying it, but taking the actual capsules. All right, so let's make that scalp mask. Are we gonna do this? All right, give me a thumbs up if you love the recipes that I share here, if you really love them. If I see a lot of thumbs up, then I'll be sure to share more beauty recipes and things throughout the shows. We always like to follow our followers, of course, and what you really want to learn more about. Alex, yes, Amia. All right, we will do a lot more recipes. Blue butterflies, I love it, I love it. Karen as well, Maria. Thank you for tuning in today. Lady O, Fod, Total Jacobs, Priscilla, awesome. Oh, thanks for tuning in. All right, it's great to have you here. Okay, yes, love doing the recipes. Okay, so this is for any type of scalp issue. It could be the psoriasis, it could be the dandruff, dry, itchy, and irritated scalp. And just as a nice thing, to do for your scalp. It's very cooling and it feels amazing. Okay, so all we need is some aloe vera gel. So this is something that you can ideally get from the plant itself. And just 1 tablespoon of that, we're going to mix into, and this is of course a commercial grade one, which sometimes has other ingredients, so not always my favorite, but hey, in a pinch, you're going to use your aloe vera gel no matter where you source it from. And then you're going to use some tea tree oil. Now we know that tea tree oil has a great impact on, being antifungal. It is amazing. And just 5 drops of tea tree oil into that mixture. Today it's slow, of course. All right, it's coming. Here we go. So that is very antifungal, which is amazing as well, very cooling and soothing to the scalp. And then you can either use a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar or witch hazel, which is a natural astringent. So I have sometimes people don't like the smell of the apple cider vinegar. The witch hazel doesn't really have too much of a smell. And just a teaspoon of that. Now you're going to mix that into a small little glass container like I have here, and just incorporate that really nicely. And then with your fingers, now depending on how long your hair is, you may have to part your hair in different ways, and you're going to apply that on your scalp. So just keep parting your hair and applying it all around your scalp. And you're going to leave it there for about 20 to 30 minutes and then just shampoo it out. And it's very cooling, it's soothing, especially with the psoriasis, if you have a lot of flaking and irritation. Amazing. And it smells good too. And it is amazing. So I hope that you try that recipe. Do we have the recipe? Can we show you really quickly? All right, here we go. So I don't know if we want to go to the other screen. So can we see it? Totally, yeah. All right, perfect. So you can screenshot that really quickly. And again, come to our Q&A tomorrow because I will be answering questions. We can review a lot of the recipes and things tomorrow as well in the Q&A, which happens at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please tune in tomorrow. Join us. It's hashtag Ask Dr. Janine. Come and see us tomorrow again at 1 p.m. I'll answer your questions based on today's show. And if you have other natural health questions, that's something that I can help with as well. Miss Linda, can it help for hair loss? Yes, it's very nourishing to the scalp. I find whenever you can nourish the scalp, and if you've got that inflammation happening, whether you know it or not, anytime we quell that inflammation with some of my natural recipes, it can really help to spurt that hair growth, which is something that is amazing. Okay, guess what time it is? It's quiz question number 3 time. This is going to be a fill in the blanks. We're playing for the Veggies Multi from our great sponsor, Vitatree Nutritionals, Whole Food Vitamins, the sponsor of our show. We thank them so much for having me come and speaking to you every few weeks, of course, in the live show. All right, are we ready? This is quiz question number 3. Here we go. Let's see. SLS and polysorbates are ingredients commonly found in blank and blank that can irritate the scalp. Okay, both answers in your answer. Jojo put both answers in. Blank 1 and blank 2. Give me both. Username 40090123. Yes. Okay. Get your answers in. Yes, that's Tracy Gates. Good job, everyone. All right, Samia. I like that. Something to watch. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, Natalie wants me to go back to that. Okay, we'll go back to that in just a second. Okay, Tracy. That time. I didn't see too many answers, and I guess it's a lot to type these things. All right, Gloria, you've got it. I'll give you a few more seconds because I know it's a lot to type these things in. All right. We've got the answers. Good job, Lydia, Philip, Deanne. Good. Sparkly Warbler, hello. Thanks for tuning in. Barit, yes. Dibon, Myra, good job. Nala, is it Nala? Stutella, Frozen's Matt, Faribus, Manden, Mackenzie, Liz Ortiz, great to have you here. Thanks for tuning in. All right, it's great to have you here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, we got it. Everybody have your answers in, okay? Tony, Janice, yes. Martha as well. Davania, awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, yes, okay. So let's reveal, of course, shampoos and conditioners. So SLS and polysorbate. So tune in tomorrow. I'm going to go through some of the more specifics of those chemical names on my fancy board here, and we'll write them out so you can really check your shampoos. Maybe tonight you want to take a picture of your shampoo and conditioner bottles and those ingredients, and then you can cross-reference on your phone or on another device tomorrow when we go through some of the actual chemical names of things to look out for in your shampoos. A lot, even the more natural ones, unfortunately, they do have toxic ingredients. I know. All right, so tomorrow, please tune in at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you just are tuning in right now, we talked about fake light and what that can do to our metabolism, our hormones, and how it really is implicating our health in a negative way, as well as we talked about leaky gut syndrome today. We also talked about hyperthyroid. So if you missed that, make sure that you check out the episode. We're wrapping up shortly, but please check it out because it does live in long form video. And I do want you to make sure that you tune in for the Dr. Janine Show. It's going to be in a couple weeks, so come back on February the 11th, okay? So come back in 2 weeks, February 11th on the Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you tomorrow for the Q&A. We'll see you then. Continue to check out all my content. Thank you to everybody who tuned in today. Love you all. You guys are the best. I always say I have the best followers on the planet. Have a great day, everyone. Be healthy, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.